Good morning, everybody. This is Ralph, and I thought this morning I would do a follow-up to the death card because there is an ongoing question that people will ask from time to time, and that is, is it appropriate to predict death in a reading? And I know if you are a fan of the James Bond franchise and have seen the old movie Live and Let Die, Miss Solitaire played by Jane Seymour. Miss Solitaire is a very interesting character. She's a tarot reader who is working for Colinga, something like that. Anyhow, the arch nemesis of Bond. And she is extremely good, according to her boss, at predicting death. And he's asking her, who's coming after me? Will he die? Do you see death, Miss Solitaire? And of course, she would answer usually with a yes, I see death. But in real life, is it appropriate to be predicting death in a tarot reading? And most tarot readers that I know of, professional tarot readers who have been doing this thing for years and who have been doing it professionally on TV shows and work for like $50 a minute on some of these psychic help hotlines, they pretty much agree that we should not be predicting death in a tarot reading. And I agree. And the reason that I agree is, first of all, death is a scary enough card as it is. And when somebody comes to you for a tarot reading, you really shouldn't be trying to scare them. And I mean, the death card can do that. And I can understand if it's all for like fun and games, and the death card pops up and you want to kind of make a special deal out of it and maybe joke around about it, that's okay. But when we're talking about real life and death circumstances where you don't really know the people, like doing tarot readings, for total strangers, maybe over the internet or over the email, I don't think it's appropriate to be talking about death and predicting death for anyone. I mean, if you look at it from a certain perspective, we're all going to die sooner or later. It could be 50 days from now, could be 50 years from now, but I mean, we're all going to die eventually. So if you're predicting death, eventually, you're going to get that prediction right. But you don't want to rush it. And in science, we've all heard of the placebo effect, right? Where a doctor tells somebody that, they're taking a miracle drug that's going to cure their arthritis, cure their asthma, even cure their cancer. And they give them this miracle drug, and it works. And it turns out that so-called miracle drug was nothing more than a sugar pill. That's what's known in science as the placebo effect. There's the opposite of the placebo effect that we hardly ever hear of, and that is called the nocebo effect. And that is when somebody goes in to see a doctor and they feel great. It's just their annual checkup. And the doctor takes an x-ray and he takes some blood samples and they do some tests, and the doctor comes back and he says, you've got cancer. It's a very aggressive form of cancer. I'd say in 6 months you will probably be dead, so get your affairs in order. And lo and behold, that person just goes downhill fast. And they go from being happy and healthy like they were before they saw the doctor to just being a basket case. And then within 5 to 6 months after that diagnosis, the patient dies as if on orders from the doctor. And part of the reason, besides the cancer, is what's known as the nocebo effect, where you give a person bad news and you give it with authority and they believe you. And even if the news is inaccurate, the person plays it out for real in their life and it comes to pass. I forget what book I read it in. One dealing with Kabbalah. Oh boy, I need to look this one up because it's a great read. But the author of that talks about the nocebo effect as practiced by uh, Aborigines in Australia, certain tribes, that they have a custom where if somebody does something extremely egregious to the tribe, a tribal elder or shaman will point a stick at that person, and within a few days, that person will die. And it can be seen as some sort of great supernatural power. It could also be seen as the nocebo effect, where that person is taught from birth to believe that if a tribal elder or shaman or medicine man points a certain stick at you in a certain way, that you only have a few days to live and you're going to die. And that's he uses this as an example. Label Wolf is a Kabbalah teacher. Yeah, Label Wolf from Australia, and he's a great teacher of Kabbalah, and he makes mention of that in one of his books. And he makes the observation that yes, these Aborigines have been using the nocebo effect, perhaps unconsciously, for generations, and that we in the West, in modern medical science, we've been pointing the dirty stick at people for years without fully realizing it. So the gist of what I'm trying to say is, even if a person is happy and healthy, or they're requesting a reading for a third person, which I don't like to do. I don't like to do third person readings. I like to read for you and talk about you and what you can do to improve your life. What other people choose to do with their life is their business. Now, if they're family members, yes, I can understand that. But primarily, if we want to make change, the best person to be working with is yourself, not somebody else. Effect change by working on yourself. That's how I do tarot consultations. But somebody can be requesting a reading for somebody else, wanting to know, is this person going to die? Which, eventually, yes, they are. But maybe 50 years from now, it could be 5 hours from now, who knows? But if you give a negative answer to that kind of a question, then if it's for them, they might subconsciously, unconsciously, be working in their minds to make that psychic prediction come true. And I've heard of people who have gone into tarot readings, the death card comes up, and the reader just looks at them very seriously and says, you've got a few days to live, get your affairs in order, yada, yada, yada. And, just like the example of the Aboriginals that Label Wolf mentioned in that book I can't remember the title of. They follow the orders and they die within a few days. I've heard of that happening. And if somebody just gives you bad news, they give it with authority, you know, and you believe it, you can make that your reality. And it's just something I don't like to do, something that most professional tarot readers don't like dealing with. I mean, let's talk about life. Let's deal with the changes in life. And that's how I like to see the death card. Major changes in life do happen, will happen. They're constantly happening. There's no stopping them. There's no stopping change. Some philosophers have said change is the only constant in our lives. So what the death card can represent, and how I see it, is a reminder to work creatively with the change around you. We got to be letting go of certain things in order to receive back certain things. We have to be making certain sacrifices, with our time, sometimes with our property, with how we choose to live our life and where we invest our energy. And that's what the death card is here to remind us of, in part. is to, be mindful of where you're investing your energy. And are you investing your energy in something that works for you, that is rewarding you? Or are you just investing your energy in something that is a waste of time, a waste of your energy? And do you need to let that go in order to invest your energy more wisely in something else, in some other area? But the one thing that we have to be mindful of when you're predicting things like, I mean, serious stuff, and you don't really know the person, maybe you're reading for, a person that the person knows, or a person of a person of a person that the client that you're reading for knows, third party readings, fourth party readings, and you're throwing down the cards and you're reading the energy and you're reading the listening to the archetypes as best you can. And even if you're doing the best possible job, even if you're one of those psychics that claims 99.9% accuracy, and I don't know where they come up with that figure, but there are a lot of people out there. 99.9% accurate psychic. I read tarot right, And how did they figure that out? I don't know. But anyhow, even if you're one of those, our readings, our predictions are not, repeat, they are not always right. Sometimes we screw up. Sometimes we can screw up in big ways. And when you're predicting, I mean, something life changing, life altering, like death, like divorce, like infidelity, and you're just doing it flippantly, like, I'm the great psychic, I'm predicting this, and it's real because you can trust me, I know what I'm doing, I'm the real deal, baby. And there are people, arrogant people with great hubris that have that attitude, and I don't know, they just do a great disservice to their people, in my opinion. But if you're doing that, then, and you're wrong, you can be causing great damage to the life of your client, to the person that the client is asking the reading for, to other people. I mean, a real life example. I mean, my current wife, she's my first wife, I'm her second husband. She went through kind of a nasty divorce 20 some years ago, 25 years ago, thereabouts. And anyway, it all spurred from her husband's daughter, who was, not related to her except through marriage. It was her stepdaughter. But anyway, her husband's daughter decided for fun that she was going to go in and get a tarot reading. And she asked if her husband's wife was cheating on him. And the tarot reader flipped out some cards and then just answered in all seriousness, yes, she's cheating on him big time. And she told her father, and her father confronted, his wife at that time and accused her based on a secondhand tarot reading of infidelity. And he wanted to know, what's going on? Where's this taking place at? I mean, he foolishly took the reading for gospel truth. And in reality, she was not cheating. But I mean, he just had it in his head, planted there, partially, by the what the tarot reader said, that, there was infidelity that he had to deal with. And he just kept constantly accusing her, accusing her. And what had previously been a happy marriage quickly degenerated into a very toxic situation that had to end in divorce. And within, what was it, a year, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, within a year or two of that toxic tarot reading, uh, that happy marriage ended in divorce. And then I picked her up within a few months after that. So, I mean, when you get a tarot reading and you hear a prediction, or you hear the reader talking about your life, you know, Use your own common sense in interpreting the reading for yourself and your life situation. Tarot readers are not always right. Sometimes the symbolism gets loses something in translation. You see, in a tarot reading, we as tarot readers, tarot consultants, we see something in this card, okay? And symbolically, this tarot archetype is speaking to us. And then we have to interpret that symbolic speech, that symbolic language into English or whatever language we speak. And then we have to speak that message to the client who is requesting the reading. And then we have to put it from our English into their English or our language into their language. So even when you're sitting down for a, face-to-face tarot reading where you think it's just you and the tarot reader doing a reading, you're already dealing with a translation of a translation that you then have to translate into your life. And so you've got to use your own common sense. Like the Buddha said, accept nothing for truth unless it agrees with your own experiences and your own common sense. Don't just take something for gospel that is just wild and way out there, like you're in a happy marriage, and then a tarot reader predicts that, oh, there's infidelity going on, and this marriage will end in divorce, and then just automatically think, oh, there's something wrong. If according to your experience there is nothing wrong in your relationship, don't screw everything up just because you got one bad tarot reading. And that's why I've gotten away from doing tarot readings. You see, when people come to you for a tarot reading, they are expecting a prediction, a psychic forecast for their life that they can hang their hat on and just use, rather than using their own free will and volition. And what I prefer is doing a tarot consultation where we sit down, we talk about your issues, we talk about your problems, and I provide a second set of eyes into your situation and try to see things in your situation that perhaps you haven't seen. And then we talk it over with the tarot archetypes and see what they have to say about the situation, and and then see what possible solutions we can find for your problem and issue. See, in general, tarot readings are for people that just want to leave things to chance, who want to leave things to fate. Tarot consultations are for people who want to take an active role in their own lives and use the energy at work, use the creative change. Remember the death card. It can represent change and remind us that we have to take this power of change and use it creatively. How can we take the power of change and use that creatively in our own life situations to create the kind of final outcome that we want, to create our own future, rather than just letting a pack of cards tell us our future? So, kind of a long-winded explanation of why I don't like to predict death. The final reason I don't is that, we're not doctors unless you have a medical degree. And a tarot reader has no business predicting death, making medical diagnoses. I mean, leave that to the doctors. I mean, one of the disclaimers that I have on my site that I throw out here on the videos periodically is that I am not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a psychologist. I am a tarot reader operating from the point of view of a spiritual advisor, and we just try to do the best we can. But if you have a medical issue, see a doctor. If you have a legal issue, see a lawyer. If you have a psychological issue, go see a qualified psychologist. I'm a spiritual counselor, and we do the tarot from that perspective. And of course, we also do it for entertainment value. But I mean, nobody is the almighty psychic that can just tell you your life just by looking at a deck of cards. You have a role to play in your own life, and live your life the way you see fit, and just don't take everything for granted that a tarot reader says or a pack of cards has to say concerning you and your life. So when it comes to the death card, I do see it. It can possibly relate to physical death. I've seen that play out in some of the personal readings that I've done, for myself, for family members, for pets. And yeah, I've seen where the cards can do a marvelous job of predicting death. Would I be doing that for other people in the form of an email reading or even a face-to-face reading? Highly doubtful. Highly doubtful. I mean, that's not up to me to be making that final diagnosis. I mean, you have a lot of power to use in your own life. Let me repeat that. You have a lot of power to play in your own life. You have the power to create your life from a day-to-day basis. You have the power to create your own final outcome. So why not use that power consciously to create the final outcome of your choosing that is happy, something that you want? Use your powers for good. Don't let unethical people try to twist power away from you through the guise of tarot reading or spiritual advice or astrology or even medical science, and try to convince you that they know better. Sometimes they might, sometimes they don't, but in the end, you have the power to create your own life. Use that power for good. And don't trust everything to a deck of cards. Okay, that's why I don't predict death. This is Ralph signing out. Hope you're all having a great life. Happy Saturday. This is Saturday now that we're making this video. If you have any questions or comments, link them down below. I know I've talked on a few subjects that could be construed as being controversial, so let me know what you think. And if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you in tomorrow's update where we're going to deal with another card. Don't know which one yet. We'll just see which one flies out of the pack, sometimes literally. So until later, this is Ralph signing out. Thanks for dropping by, and we will talk to you later.